Joining me now at the desk, Phil Coorey, political editor at the Australian Financial Review, it being that time for your regular contribution on the program, 3:37 and 10 seconds. RCEP,
yes.
Let's talk about that. So this is the big trade deal that they were hoping to sort of get closer to finalising over that weekend meeting in Thailand, but India don't want in. We know they've got this really protected economy. Where are we at here? They seem to want to go ahead anyway, almost like what happened with the US and
the TPP. Yeah, so basically what all the ministers and the leaders arrived in Bangkok on the weekend, and it was obvious India was not going to be able to sign up. It's a bit different to the US and the TPP. That was a case of Donald Trump withdrawing from the TPP because he doesn't like free trade.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a case of Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, really wants to be in RCEP, but his domestic political situation just makes it impossible because they have such a protected and fragmented economy. So the other 15 nations, it's a 16-nation regional trade pact, decided they would just proceed with it anyhow and get on with it. So the leaders agreed on Monday night to do it, and they've got to do the sort of fine print and the little nitty-gritty stuff, and that'll all be done by first half of next year, and it'll be an RCEP 15.
So is there any danger, because we know the TPP was seen as both a trade deal but also about setting the rules with the sort of US focus rather than China. Is there any danger in this deal minus India, with China as the big player?
Not so much a danger, but I know the Australians, and I was over there with our delegation obviously, and there was a big keenness for India to be involved, not just because the untapped economic potential of being able to trade with that country, you know,
and finally get access without all the barriers. More than a lot of the other
a nation of 1 billion people with a rising middle class. That was an attract, but the strategic importance, you're right, of having India in that pact. So, you know, as the Prime Minister and others says, having these countries interlinked by trade and business has a very big strategic importance. This is one of the things Donald Trump doesn't understand, that when you disengage, you know, Malcolm Turnbull tried to say it's not just about warships and soldiers, it's about engaging economically and in a soft diplomatic way. It sort of gives you a bigger stake in the region. And so, it's, as I said, it's not by choice by Modi, it's just by circumstance. He's getting smashed at home by the opposition leader Sonia Gandhi. They've got 43 million farms in India. Everyone's got a farm about the size of a tennis court. In China, you know, you've got a good old dictatorship. They can just bulldoze any such concerns aside and restructure their economy in a decade.
Make it efficient.
India's a democracy. It's split by this caste system. It's probably, I think, impossible to fully reform like China did.
Speaking of China, so the relationship was the key watch. It has been for a while. It's like the high school couple you keep hearing on again, off again with us and China. Where's it at right now?
I think there was a sort of honest assessment by both Scott Morrison and Li Keqiang on the weekend that both of them agreed the relationship wasn't in great shape, and it was incumbent on both to do more to fix it up. So
is that an improvement from the finger wagging from China we've had?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was, you know, both were prepared to make a concession. Morrison made the point that you know, we're not them. We're never going to be a communist dictatorship. They're never going to be what we are, a democracy. So you might as well just accept that. And I think that gives each other the right to criticise each other.
Yeah.
Like we can criticise them on human rights and so forth. But at the same, it's a bit of that John Howard mantra. You focus on the areas of common interest rather than the differences. So there's an acceptance there. We're not going to agree on a lot of things and we're going to clash over it. But there's also an acceptance that, you know, there's an area of mutual interest there. So it was probably just, I hate to use that word reset, but it was a bit of a recalibration, if you like, because things have gone all pear-shaped. So still needs to be built.
It's not the first time that's happened, is it? They sort of Australia sort of starts being asked questions by the media, and politicians are very honest, and then China takes offence, it ratchets it up, and then they sort of go back to...
Yeah, but that thing they put out last week after Maurice Payne, that was like a pro forma condemnation. You know, we insert name here, condemn for this, insert here. It was expected. So, you know, fundamentally the trading relationship is strong, but it can get a lot better. And as we said, we haven't met the Chinese president on an official basis now for more than 3 years, and that's quite significant.
It's a while. Just finally, Labor review, all coming out tomorrow. Every voter across the country just waiting with anticipation. They want to hear more about this.
I thought Tanya Plibersek this morning made great sense when she said the punters are sick of Labor talking about itself and flagellating itself in public. Tomorrow is something they're going to have. I'm surprised they've decided to drag it out over 2 days. They brought the release forward from Friday to tomorrow, so Anthony Albanese could speak at the Press Club Friday. Probably made more sense strategically to do it Friday and hope it's never revisited. But look, it's important for them. It'll have a set of findings and not recommendations, but findings and ways forward that everyone's had an input into formulating, so therefore everyone should accept them and use that as the template in terms of moving forward, rather than, you know, Fred Nurk says we lost it because of that, and Mary Nurk says that, this will be the template.
Well, this is perhaps the value, is it not, in not having Friday afternoon, we're all done, see you later, that 2019 is a write-off anyway, really, politically. Really let the bloodletting happen.
Well, I don't know if there's been bloodletting. I think it's just soul-searching, because they all owned this election loss. They all owned the agenda. They all backed Bill Shorten. No one's sort of got the right to stand up now and say, I told you so. So it was a collectively owned loss. I think that's why it hasn't been as probably spirited as it otherwise would have been. But, you know, the important thing is they put this behind them and don't carry on like this after Christmas. If they're still carrying on like this after Christmas, they'll be in deep doo-doo.
We'll note that remark. Phil Coorey, thank you.
No worries, Tom.